everybody, welcome to this week's Conversations with Claire. I've got an amazing one for you this week. Now, this was really inspired by what was going on in my community over the last couple of weeks, and that was people were experiencing a lot of sickness. The first few weeks, it was all around, people having bad backs, knees, like tripping over, falling, hitting their knees, anything to do with backs, knees and hips and feet as well. And then this past week, it's always been constant sickness. So I tapped in and I thought, right, what is going on? So as I tapped into the collective, basically what we're doing is we're going through an ascension process. Now, this was actually a blog I wrote for my community about 18 months ago, and I've pulled it out of the records. And I am now presenting it because it's exactly perfectly aligned for this time. You're going to find it full of interesting and fascinating tips, but also information to understand about the physical aspects of what happens to ourselves, our body, when we are going through up levels, if you want to call it up leveling, if you want to call it awakening, becoming higher conscious, or physically becoming more intuitive. And sometimes our body needs to go through a shedding process, a letting go process, in order for that to happen. And also our bodies like to try and hold us still while that happens. Therefore, that's where the issues of like being out of alignment, stop you being in flow, pauses you so that your body, or you need to take action for your body in order to make changes. So let me just talk a little bit about this. As we go through life, we often realize that our rational minds always make conscious decisions. However, there's also a force within us that sometimes gets overlooked, and that is the power of our intuition. Now, you are part of my community. I know as a part of my community, you want to become more intuitive. That's probably one of the things that when I'm teaching, when I'm healing, when I'm training, a lot of people say to me, how do I become more intuitive? How do I become more aware? How do I become more psychic? And that is opening up our intuition. But it does have a physical change within the body that needs to occur for that to happen, okay, just so you know. So intuition is our inner compass, our inner guide. It's that loving part of ourselves, if you want to call it the soul or the higher self, that guides us for our best and highest. And sometimes as we're opening up this intuition, you will see signs of it opening up. And sometimes we don't always like those signs. So as you're becoming more conscious, more aware, or you're up leveling, I like to say it's time for you to be surrendering to your soul. So over this blog, if you want to read the blog underneath, there's a link to it. Or if you just want to listen to me just talking about it, please read on or listen on. So a couple of things. You want to be able to be surrendering to your soul is about you being quiet, doing the inner work, being reflective, being patient with yourself, being loving with yourself. And we don't always do that. Sometimes we need to set time aside each day for us to do that. And I know physically, right, I am going through this at this moment in time. It took a lot for me to get my hair and makeup done this morning to be able to turn up and do this video, but I knew that my community needed it and I couldn't wait any longer, or you couldn't wait any longer. So I do have to pull up my big girl pants and get on with it. But I have been very quiet. My business runs without me or not, right? A lot of this stuff is all pre-scheduled. But, sometimes I'm a Cancerian, right? So, and I'm a natural introvert. I know I present as an extrovert, but you can learn how to do that. But I am a natural introvert. So I do need to have that quiet time. And I'm actually away on holiday in about 7 days. So, that will be me really, really filling my cup. So sometimes as your intuition is opening up. You are going through an up level, a consciousness in raising in consciousness. You have to surrender to your soul. So trust your body. Trust your body really knows what it's doing with this ascension process or this up-leveling process. I'm just going to call it ascension process, okay? Otherwise, I'll be saying more words than I need to. So really trust your body. If your body is telling you to slow down, slow down. If your body is telling you to rest, rest, right? I have spent years and years not listening to my body, so much so it led to burnout, ill health, sickness, disease, etc. Right? I've been blessed these last couple of weeks that I've been okay. All right, probably a few months ago my back and my neck was out, but I knew I was out of alignment. I knew my business was starting to evolve and change. I knew I was starting to evolve and change, and I surrendered to my soul. I live, eat and walk and breathe my spiritual practice, right? I can't say to other people, but have a soul-led business if I didn't have a soul-led business, right? So first things first, trust your body at this time. If you are sick, the manifestation of sickness and illness is because you need to surrender to soul. You need to slow down. You need to stop rushing. Over the last few weeks in the community, I said May was a month where we really were challenged. We had karma coming up for us to look at and to heal and clear. And June was all about expansion. Now, the only way that you're going to expand is if you give yourself space to do that. And giving yourself space is slowing down. It's not about doing more. July, we're going to be back into that masculine energy where we're going to be go, 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 go. But this month of June is to create space. And sometimes the only way that you'll ever create space or give yourself time to reflect is if you manifest an illness. And I believe that 100% this definitely happens, and it happened to me for years. I used to manifest migraines in order to give myself the self-love and nurturing that it needed to rest and to give myself space and time. So trust your body. Your body knows what it needs to do. So surrender to soul, surrender to your body. Notice the signs. Now, as we start to awaken, all right, or ascend, we will often receive signs and synchronicities to confirm that we're on the right path. So for me, the last 2 weeks, because I've been driving a lot more, right? My son's home and he doesn't drive, so I've been having to take him to the golf course. And, you know, that's drive there, back. And the amount of number plates, I do laugh because I look at number plates now. My angels and guides know how to communicate with me through number plates, or even just looking at the clock and stuff like that. So the amount of synchronicities. And what's been really interesting is my personal numbers are a 7-11 or 11-7, or a multitude of those numbers, because that's my date of birth. I'm the 11th of the 7th, right? So when you see your birth numbers, that is a really big sign from the universe, from your guides and your angels, that you're okay, you're being held, to trust where you are at this moment in time. And when I see it, I'm like, okay, I've got this. I know this is happening for me, not to me. This is good, right? And then I see the 555, which is one of my special numbers, but it also means transformation as well. So notice those synchronicities to confirm, all right? Also, I want to talk a little bit about relationships. So as you are up leveling, as you are ascending, as you are spiritually growing, or you're having an up level, depends really what you align to, right? Relationships can change. Now, relationships can end. You know that old saying, a reason, a season, or a lifetime, okay? as this happens, it's time for it to go. Because sometimes we have to, it's like a good declutter. Sometimes we have to let people go in order to bring new people in. And then I spoke a lot about this last year in 2023, which was a 7-year number. And this was all about really connecting in with your soul family. So it's also about, you connecting to your soul, but also when you've connected more to your soul, you are what you attract. So if you're more connected to soul, you're going to be more of your soul family. You are going to meet your soulmate and things like that. So as you grow and evolve, your relationships with your family and friends may change. Now there might be some disturbances, so there might be some like arguments and some friction, okay? And people might need to disappear out of your life for a little while, and then when you've like gone through your ascension, and then sometimes they can come back in. That's 100% quite normal, okay, that actually happens. We also have a natural cycle, all right? So it's death and rebirth, death and rebirth. We are literally the last 2 days we've had winter solstice here in Australia, so it was like the end, right? We've had the death, and now it's the rebirth starting to come. So it's whether you follow, like a pagan Wicca witchcraft type of where you work with the seasons and things like that. You work with the earth energy, if you're more into that like priestess goddess energy, right? And I do work a lot with that, so it makes 100% sense, that you will move with the tides, you will work with the moon energy, you will work with the seasons, you will work with the elements as well. So it just happens, right? You evolve and grow, and other people evolve and grow, and sometimes they're not always meant to be with you for a period of time. So let's get more into the nitty gritty, because I know that you'll be dying and you'll be saying, Claire, what about health and well-being? What about health and well-being? So if you didn't know, that I am a certified medical intuitive, and the reason why I went down the medical route as well was because I knew this cycle. I knew that every time most people went through an up level, it affected them in different areas of their life. It could affect them in money, it could affect them in relationships, but most of all, 9 times out of 10, especially us women, it really affects us in our own health and well-being. So remember, like, your body is always talking to you, and you can body whisper. But if you don't take the time to listen, your body will start to scream and shout at you. So always start to pay attention to the whispers and the intuitive messages every day in your life, so that you're consciously aware of what is going on, rather than the body screaming at you and then you feel real physical pain and then you have to make the changes. So for me, touch wood, I've been okay. I haven't been physically sick, but I have been going through those ebbs and flows of like needing to be quiet, needing to put myself to bed. I laugh and I say I put myself to bed early, but that's actually what I need, right? I need to inner parent my inner child. I need to parent myself. So I do put myself to bed early. I do make sure that I am not drinking stimulants. I'm not drinking as much. I have 1 coffee a day, 2 max, all right? But I am starting to look at like, okay, my body at this moment is going through this ascension process. So, I am looking at different vitamins and minerals, what to let go of out of my diet, not necessarily introduce into my diet. So sometimes that can happen as well. So, be your own body whisperer. Listen to your body. How do you do that? You have to meditate, my friend. You have to meditate. That is, if I could say 2 things that is going to improve your life, that is not going to cost you any money, you would prick your ears up at me. And that would be filtered water and plenty of it, and meditation, okay? Because meditation puts you into a different brain state. It connects you into your higher self and your soul self. When you hear that loving energy, when you feel that loving energy, should I say, when you hear those loving words, right? And it is at least about, depends how quick you are, depending on about 5, 10, 15, even 20 minutes of a meditation. That's when you've surrendered the ego, and now you've surrendered your soul, and that information comes through. So What can happen in your ascension process? I'm just going to pick out the main top ones. The first one, and I did mention that a little minute ago, is headaches and migraines. So this can happen when your brain is creating new neural pathways. It's like making new ways to think. And when you have a virus, when you have a sickness, viruses actually cut your cells and your DNA. It's cutting your belief systems, okay, through your body. So migraines are the easiest way to manifest to put you into stillness. That's the other thing. Plus migraines, it might be that, and you would do some muscle testing around this. You would look at, is this migraine, is this migraine mine? First of all, right? I was having a conversation with a woman the other day where she's just been constantly sick. And I was like, she's doing shamanic work, right? She's taking on everybody's stuff. So I said to her, look, she's a healer, and I said to her, have you just tested that all that sickness is yours or somebody else's? And she was like, oh yeah. I was like, right, that's your first point. She was having a lot of migraines. The second thing you want to look at is are these migraines is because my certain chakra points of my head, so it could be your third eye, it could be your crown chakra, it could be your soul star chakra, it can also be your causal chakra starting to open up. So depending on where the pain is, I knew with my migraines it was around like the ovaries and stuff like that, because I knew I'm really in tune with my body, so I knew which side I was ovulating each month, and the migraine would appear each side of the head in relation to that. It's my body's way of saying where I'm ovulating from and what I needed to look at and heal. But yeah, migraines and headaches, it is either you're manifesting it because you're tired and it's slowing you down, and it's an easy way of doing that for you. And the second thing is, are you opening up, or is it your stuff? So just check on that. Obviously, what you're going to do is that you are going to rest. You are going to, if you take prescribed drugs or whatever like that, and I have done that in the past because I had to, but make sure that you are looking after yourself. If it is somebody else's stuff that you are experiencing within your body, you command that you get rid of it, all right? You do not have to take anything on. You say the command and you allow it to go. If you're experiencing flu type symptoms, so you might you will know with flu type symptoms that your energy is starting to change. You might have things like a fever or hot sweats. This isn't menopause stuff. What it's doing is the fever and the hot sweats with the flu symptoms is it means that your body is naturally detoxifying. It's getting rid of bad toxins, so it's helping you think clearer. If you're experiencing dizziness, okay, so some people get a lot of vertigo when they are up leveling. This is really important that you ground yourself, all right? So dizziness, vertigo, you need to ground yourself. You do not feel part of this human plane, okay? There's lots of different, I have a really good grounding meditation as part of my complementary meditations. I'll put the link below. Go and help yourself to that. But, grounding yourself is being out in nature, getting yourself into seawater, hugging a tree, and making sure you take minerals. Okay, so sometimes you actually need to have a look at your minerals and your supplements. If you're going through ear ringing, okay, it sounds like a tuning fork, right? It's basically your angels talking to you, all right? You might be opening up your clairaudience more, right? Because you might say, well, I'm already clairaudient. Well, you might be going to another level, all right? Because all the time we can open things up and we can shut them down 100%. I remember, I was really working on a lot of my up leveling my Claire vision. Oh my god, I've forgotten what it's completely gone blank with that one. Yeah, completely blank. And what I was doing is I was starting to see color orbs, color energy and stuff like that. I don't read auras, can't see auras or anything like that, but I was starting to open that up for me. Now I'm just going to change legs. It was all starting to open up for me. And I then got a little bit scared and I shut it down, right? And it comes out every now and again, depending on who the client is in a room. The orbs will start to come through and the color vision. But yeah, we can open up and we can shut it down. So if you've got ears ringing, right, it's a couple of signs. Your angels and your guides are trying to talk to you, right? Or the other thing is, if it is your left ear, okay, you are being opened up. New coding is coming into you, right? So you know how you have light codes, we also have sound codes. So your sound codes are opening you up. If it is on the right ear, it's your next steps. They're downloading you. Your soul is downloading you, like with a computer program, of your next divine timings, your next timelines, and your next stages. And what you'll find is, especially with the right ear, you'll find the next 24 hours, 48 hours, however long, you'll just get these really great ideas of like, oh, I'm going to do that. Oh, I'm going to do that. I know when I decided to move up here to Brisbane, we didn't know we were coming. We'd sold the house and everything, and we were on holiday. We literally sold the house an hour before we got onto the aeroplane to go to America on holiday. And literally through America, my right ear was just like ringing. And my husband said, do you think you've got an ear infection? I was like, no, just being downloaded. I didn't tell him that because he just wouldn't get it, right? I have a husband that is not spiritual whatsoever. He's interested in what I do, to the point, okay? Just say that. So that's your ears. Your heart palpitations, heart fluttering as well. So it might be your thymus gland. You might be experiencing things like that. Obviously, please, if you feel, you must get medical attention, just in case it's not that. All right, so I'm just saying that. But what you might be finding is that your heart chakra might be opening up more, okay? Because let's face it, there's the way to heal, the way to be an amazing healer is to love. Absolutely. Healing is done through the heart chakra. Healing is done through the energy of pure love. I'm going to clear my throat now. Okay, so here we go. Cough or shortness of breath. So your lungs are all about taking on the next level or greater capacity to life. But what can happen is that you also need to release stored grief in your lungs. So sometimes when you have this cough, you need to work on the metaphysical aspects of releasing grief. Now, not always is this stuff yours. You could be a real empathic or sensitive, and therefore you could be holding on to other people's grief and helping them process it. So, you know, once again, you want to be testing, is this sickness yours? Is it somebody else's? Whose is it? The other thing is stomach irritation, sickness, and irregular bowel movements. So this is all sort of centered around that solar plexus, which is your powerhouse. So not going to the loo is about you holding on and not letting go. And then the other way is over letting go as such. But you want to be careful of what's going on. Now, what I've noticed this year with a lot of people really wanting to, because I do work on a lot of people that want to open up their psychic abilities, right? People have had funny gut issues, right? And that is because their navel chakra is starting to open up. And I'll talk about like the fall of Atlantis and how all of this is starting to happen, and what the outcomes of opening it all back up for us, right? On another conversations. But yes, it could be your navel chakra starting to open up. Remember, our kids are going through this as well, our family, our elders, and things like that, and people like that. So just remember that this could be happening for others, not necessarily for ourselves. So yes, in the full blog, I've written more details all around the solar plexus, but it could be your navel chakra starting to open up. And with these chakra points, right, they might open up, or they might be up leveled and upgraded as well. You might be finding that you've got insomnia as well. Yep, I've been experiencing that, and it's not my menopause. I know it's not. But in times of spiritual awakening, insomnia, waking you up. Hello, it's waking you up. Okay, get the context. Okay, so what might happen? That's why I've put myself to bed early a few times, right? Because I've been waking up in the night. And you know why? Because I haven't been dedicating enough time at this moment to my spiritual practice, right? So if you think about it, I said that I was going through an up level, I'm going through a change, I'm going through an evolution. I'm starting to sort of diversify the business into a new direction. I've got a soul-led business, right? So I need to connect in with the soul, with the Akashic records of my business, etc., to get the information of what I need to do to move forward. I need a team meeting, okay? And sometimes I need to do the healings around that, right? And I procrastinate. I stop it. I sabotage it. I'm human as well, all right? I go through all of this exactly the same as you do, right? So sometimes what can happen is my body, my soul will wake me up early in the morning so that I can spend more dedicated time to what I need to be focusing on. And that's what happens. Okay, so that could be happening to you. Your body might naturally be waking up so that you can start to connect to your soul, surrender to your soul for the wisdom and the mindset. If you want to get over that, you carve out time during the day that suits you to do your practices, okay, to connect in with soul. Hot flushes is really interesting. Hot flashes aren't a negative, right? Hot flashes is your kundalini energy rising. I'll do another blog on video on that. You could be experiencing burnout as well. Okay, we have over the last few years, we've been on the slow train. Okay, especially with COVID, time sort of stood still. But I don't know about you, right? Time is moving quicker. And that's because consciousness is rising and it's going a lot quicker. So when things go quicker, what happens? It feels like we're running full steam ahead. What's the outcome of that? It's burnout. So a lot of people are experiencing burnout. So please look at your energy levels. Please look into looking after yourself. If you struggle with this, you have a neglect wound and you have a overgiving wound. Those two wounds are really important to clear. As a woman, if you really struggle giving yourself love and time for your own health and well-being, please book in a session and let me clear those wounds for you. It's very quick, it's very simple, it's very potent, and it will change your life. So that's burnout. You may be feeling overly emotional. So sometimes, right, what can happen is we can work through not necessarily the physical body, but we can have the emotional body as well. And I know I've been shedding through the emotional body. So a lot of this stuff that I am sort of evolving and shifting and growing is more on the emotional body. And it will affect you on different days, 100%. What you could look at. Okay, so let me give you some ideas on how I can help you shift and change during this period of time of ascension. Become the intuitive eater. You may need to change your diet. Say, for instance, I know with a lot of my clients when their navel chakra and their solar plexus and that area, their gut is off, it might be that they need to go on a vegetarian or a vegan diet for X amount of times, okay? Because the more psychic that you become quite attuned. You might have clairgustance, which is your psychic taste. All right. So when you eat things, you can feel whether they're psychically good or psychically bad. You could go to a restaurant, right? I know when I have to be careful where I eat when I'm going through ascension processes, because I can go to a restaurant and whatever somebody has cooked for me, if they are in a foul mood or if they're not happy or if they're going through stuff and they're cooking, right, and their emotions go into that food, I can eat the food and then I can have a reaction to it. that can happen with me quite a lot. So I'm really careful on, like, for the last couple of weeks we haven't had takeaways or anything like that, or we haven't eaten out. And I love to eat out. I love dining, and I love food, and I love restaurants. And I love not cooking, but I know at this time I need to cook. Or my husband needs to cook. So you will find increased intuition as well, okay? And you may be becoming very psychically aware of other people's feelings and emotions. So you might need to detach from them as well at this time. So, you know, the great thing about the ascension process is, I hope I'm not giving it I'm not being a Debbie Downer, right? But I think it's really important that we have these honest conversations about what's going on, because every time I talk about this, whether it's in my community, with my clients, where I've written blogs in the past, etc., people say to me, that makes so much sense. I get it. I understand now. Okay. Rather than you walking around thinking, what is wrong with me? I don't feel right. You know, picking up antidepressant pills or, you know, anti-anxiety and stuff like that. You are going through an ascension process. As you ascend, old parts of you die off. That is it, 100%. So I hope this has been really, really interesting. Please go check out the blog. If you'd like to be part of my holistic spiritual community on Facebook, we'd love to have you in. Please subscribe to my YouTube account, because every week I do these talks, okay? So we are, you know, moving more into conversations with Claire, and I have some exciting things coming in the pipeline once I get back from my holiday. I need my rest. So, you know, you can follow me through all the social media channels as per normal, but you can also find how you would like to work with me on my website, which is www.clairegorman.com.au. You can see the types of services I offer, and all the different programs as well. And I do offer beautiful retreats. So thank you once again. You know, as I said, please subscribe, and I look forward to talking with you next week. Have an awesome week. Take care.